10 out of 10. This is delicious. Hey friends, I hope your week is off to a great start. A couple weeks ago, I asked you what types of healthy recipes you were interested in seeing, and a lot of you said healthier baking videos. So that's exactly what we're doing today. This recipe is from Run Fast, Eat Slow, and it's a sweet potato breakfast cookie. The recipe is dairy-free, gluten-free, and vegan, so that's checking a lot of different dietary boxes. But if you'd like to see some other specific type of healthier baking, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll look for something to accommodate that. Without any further ado, let's get right into this. Since this is gluten-free, we do have oat flour here, and I've made my own oat flour just by pulsing old-fashioned oats in my blender for about 10 seconds. And you can see the texture here. It does look very coarse, but it is mostly broken down. And now to this, we're gonna add in some almond meal. And if you don't have almond meal, almond flour works just as well. Next for the seasonings, I've got some ground ginger, along with ground cinnamon, kosher salt, and baking powder. And then we're just gonna whisk this until evenly incorporated. So that looks nice and homogeneous, and we can set this aside and move on to the wet ingredients. For the wet ingredients, obviously we're starting off with sweet potato, since this is a sweet potato breakfast cookie. So this is 1 cup of sweet potato puree. I baked the sweet potatoes just wrapped in foil and let them cool down. It was about a sweet potato and a half for me. To that, we're going to add in some melted coconut oil. If you want this to be oil-free, you could substitute this with either almond butter or peanut butter. We really just need something with fat for mouthfeel, moisture, and tenderness. Next, some maple syrup. And if you don't want to use maple syrup, you could use whole dates. Just steep them in some boiling water to soften them up, and then puree it in a blender until smooth. And I'm just going to gently whisk this together to get everything incorporated. All right, perfect. So that looks like a loose but homogeneous mixture, and now we can add in the raisins. For the raisins, I'm using black maru raisins, which I really like. I had never tried these before. I had only had Thompson raisins, which are what every other raisin you buy, like from Sunmade, etc., would be. Black maru raisins are a little bit less sweet, a little bit bigger, a little bit plumper and juicier, so I just like this a lot more. So I've really been enjoying Imperfect Foods. It's a good combination of conventional and organic produce and pantry items. I did a full review on it here if you want to check that out. I do have a code in the description box down below for $10 off your first order if you want to try it out. So we'll add the raisins in here and whisk to combine. Almost forgot the vanilla extract. All right, perfect. Now we're ready to assemble the batter. So making a little well in my dry ingredients and scraping in all the wet at once. And then I'm just gonna stir this to get it combined. There's no gluten in here, so you don't need to worry about making these tough from over mixing. However, folding is just generally a pretty efficient way of mixing. And now the bowl is too small. So obviously this is a lot of dry ingredients and not very many wet, so the batter will be quite thick. So that looks nice and evenly incorporated to me. Now we're ready to portion out the cookies. So I've got the baking tray lined with parchment paper. I'm using my number 16 scoop, which is 4 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup. And we're gonna make 13 even cookies. And with the cookies all portioned out, I'm just gonna take my spatula and press them slightly to help them spread out a little bit more. So now we're ready to pop this into the preheated 350-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes. We're looking for the edges to start to brown up and the bottoms to start to get a little bit crispy. Our cookies baked for 20 minutes. I let them cool on the pan for 10, and this is the end result. So you can see they picked up a nice amount of golden color. However, they haven't spread out really at all. So you do want to press these down as much as you want to get them to look like the end result when they go into the oven, because it doesn't seem like a lot really happened. However, the texture of these feels quite soft. The cookie is surprisingly heavy for the weight. I am super eager to break this open because the aroma is fantastic. So let's do a little break and see what's going on here. So it's a very tender cookie, so that's a good sign. It means we haven't overbaked it. A little bit of crispiness on the edges, I like that. Flavor here is kind of reminding me of a carrot cake almost because of the ginger plus the cinnamon plus the raisins. It's kind of taking me to that place. Not overly sweet at all, which is not surprising given we had a 1/2 cup of sugar compared to, what, 1.5 cups would be probably a normal quantity of sugar for this amount of cookies. So it is drastically reduced from a normal recipe. That said, I will run the nutritionals on this through MyFitnessPal just so that you can have the full breakdown of macros if you're interested in that. But overall, for a healthy cookie, 10 out of 10, this is delicious. In the world of cookies, this is probably like a 7. I would not turn this down if someone brought this into the office and said, hey, this is the Run Fast, Eat Slow cookie, do you want it? I would 100% take this. So overall, I'm pleasantly surprised by this cookie. It exceeded my expectations, although truthfully, my expectations were quite low for this because healthy baking generally means flavorless baking or poor textured baking, and this managed to dodge both of those common pitfalls. So let me know in the comments down below what other healthy baking you'd like to see, and I really hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please be sure to give me a big thumbs up and click subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.